The world remains constant over the centuries, but human life is like the dew at dawn, or a bubble rising through water. Transitory.
Everyone hold hands!
Let's get down to business.
Wheel of Life.
How's this?
Rain outlines your fate.
Finally.
It's been a while since we first set foot on Inazuma. So many things have happened since... Yeah, we've definitely... So, where should we go today? Huh? Hey! What the heck was that for? Doesn't want to talk, huh? All right, let's convince him to calm down a little.
Illusion shattered! Now you shall perish!
Huh? So you don't have... Seems like I've mistaken you for...
At the very least, you should make sure you've got the right... No, wait! Even when you've got the right person, you shouldn't...
Have you ever met someone by the name of Kaedahara? He carries a sword just like you. I've also heard that he possesses an animal vision. That's none of your business. Never mind. You don't look like you know anything anyway. I'm wasting my time.
What the heck is this guy's problem? Coming around here, waving that weird sword in our faces! And he didn't eat... Well, one thing's for sure. No way are we telling him anything about Kazu, right? Paimon has a feeling, though, that even if this guy gets to challenge Kazu anyway, just to be on the safe side, we should go fight Kazuo right away and tell him to watch his back. Oh? What kind of hunch? A special connection? You mean beyond already? Yeah, maybe a little. But then again, anyway, there's no time to lose. Let's go tell Paimon heard that the Crux fleet is stocking up in Rito at the moment. Let's look for him there.
You're looking for Kazuha too, huh? Guess he must have done something impressive after all. Well, we took the small vessels into Rito on a routine supply run, only this time, as soon as we entered the harbor, we ran into a huge crowd of Inazumans, all of them wanting to know if it's because of that battle on Nizuchi Beach. Captain Beto had a great run there too, but I don't see her getting this kind of attention. Kazuha keeps to himself most of the time. In fact, there are times when he doesn't even listen to the captain, but she just laughs it off.
Oh, so you still don't...
I've heard bits and pieces. Something about him blocking the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. Is it really as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be? Really? Wow. When you put it like that, it all makes sense. He was called away earlier by some people from the Tenryo Commission. They said they had something important to discuss. I thought they'd come to arrest him at first. Turns out they couldn't have been friendlier to him. Seems...
Just a little while ago, this would have been completely unimaginable. Thank you! Guess we'll go pay a visit to the Tenryo Commission.
All right then. I'll just stay here and carry on trying to fend off...
Oh? It's you.
Greetings. We were just discussing the repealing of the Vision Hunt decree. Since you're here, you're very welcome to listen in on... We invited Mr. Kaedahara here to extend a gesture of goodwill on behalf of the Shogunate. Your hard work has secured for us the agreeable state of affairs that we now enjoy. Also, I've been granted the chance to correct my clan's past mistakes. And for the Almighty Shogun has issued a large array of directives aimed at resolving, or at least easing, the tensions that have built up over the years. The Tri-Commission has made the recommendation to use this opportunity to restore the honor of the Kaedahara name. Regarding the history of the Kaedahara clan, I trust that you're already... In short, there was once a group of select bladesmiths who served the Shogun directly, responsible for upholding and further developing the traditional blade forging arts of the Almighty Shogun. The Kaedahara clan belonged to this, but there came a time when some of these bladesmiths revolted and fled to Snezhnaya. Both the Kaedahara and Kamisato clans were held accountable for lax oversight, and entered a period of great turmoil. We later learned that the whole misadventure had been secretly orchestrated by the Fatui. Attributing all of the blame to the Kamisato and Kaedahara clans was neither proper nor just. Considering Mr. Kaedahara has once more made an outstanding contribution to Inazuma, the Almighty Shogun believes he should not only be rewarded for his achievements, but also receive recompense for the excessive punishment borne by his clan in the past. In the interest of preventing further harassment of the Bladesmith clans by the Fatui, we chose not to publicly release the findings of our investigations into these matters. We trust you—
This is a true honor. I am delighted to be in a position to receive the goodwill of the Almighty Shogun. However, would I be correct to assume that this magnanimous gesture does not come without some strings attached?
I can assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. We seek only— With the Kaedahara clan's reputation and occupation restored, the Kaedaharas will be bladesmiths once more, and your wanderings will finally come to an end. You will be able to lead a safe and prosperous life in Inazuma City with the Almighty Shogun's blessing and full support of the Shogunate.
I have grown accustomed to life among the elements. I fear I would no longer feel at home behind the tall wall. Yet my ancestors did indeed take great pride in the name of Kaedahara, and the art of blade making for which it stood.
I sense some hesitation in your work. Should you accept this offer, I imagine many of the malicious rumors currently circulating through the—
Malicious rumors? All we heard on the way here was so much much praise that we almost wondered whether there was a...
Well, to some, the Muso no Hitotachi is something that can never be defeated. They cannot accept the idea that Mr. Kaedahara really parried the Shogun's strike. Also, eyewitnesses saw him using the power of Electro in addition to that of Animo. As a result, the falsehood that Kaedahara Kazuha was using a delusion began to spread.
What? But that doesn't make sense. Using a delusion turns you old and frail.
That is correct. However, to some people, the idea of a single person wielding two elements at once is a...
This is just one of many similar rumors. I am very uncomfortable with being the subject of public discussion. But perhaps if the shogunate is willing to publicly support me, this situation...
This is precisely why I encourage you to give our offer some serious thought. It stands to benefit all...
In fact, let us put this discussion on hold for the moment. Well then, what brings the two...
Yikes! We nearly forgot about...
Why would such a dangerous individual be looking... No. This puzzles me. My fighting forms were taught to me by my family, based on techniques originally developed for blade testing. We undergo rigorous training to standardize every motion the blade is put through, so that over time these techniques came to form something of a Kaedahara sword art, focused on blade testing, but with a full repertoire of combat forms. Those forms are quite different from the more practical ones typically used by samurai in battle. So it's hard to imagine that the similarity you speak of was coincidental.
All the more reason to watch your back! This guy was a serious...
Indeed. He sounds highly aggressive. Anyone he targets...
In that case, I will send some men out immediately to search.
Thank you. I must say I am now very curious about this matter. And I will first join the Traveler in investigating the one who attacked her, then give you a conclusive...
Very well. Please stay safe.
Come on. Let's go and track down your aggressor.
The detective agency knows the most about what goes on in town. Let's see what Ryuji has to say. We'd like to ask, do you know if anyone around here has been looking for him? For kind of...
Aha! So this is the renowned Mr. Kaedahara. I've heard a lot about you.
You are too kind. We are currently investigating an assault.
Oh? You were targeted in an assault? Let me think. Mr. Kaedahara is currently the talk of the town, so there are always... To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Some of them were offering us millions of mora just to gather the information they want. If these were more legitimate commissions, Sango would have snapped them up in an instant.
Millions? Of mora? Whoa!
Please, accept my thanks for looking...
Of course. No matter what, we only take on legitimate cases. We don't make our money by revealing details of other people's day-to-day life just for the sake of it. Sorry, I got a little off topic. What I'm really trying to say... But I wouldn't know where to begin if we want to connect this with an assault.
Then let's put that connection aside for now. Have there been any other attacks or similar incidents recently that stand out as... The Tenryo Commission had very few leads. I thought you might have some information from different sources.
It's true that the commissioners aren't clued up about every little thing that goes on out in the streets. But typically, it's only the most trivial events that manage to escape their... If anyone had been out there attacking people, that would be assault. In which case, the Tenryo Commission would
Uh-oh. Looks like the trails are...
I still find it difficult to believe that whoever attacked you hasn't been causing any trouble. Few people possess your prowess in battle. So unless you were the first person he targeted, someone is certain to have been hurt by now. I am well aware of your talents. There is no need to be humble around me. In fact, it would cause me great grief to see someone become critically injured or lose their life. For the poor victim, this would be a completely senseless...
Don't worry, we'll find him.
It seems you are every bit the selfless hero they make you out to be, Mr. Kaedehara. Surely this same concern for your fellow man is what drove you to fearlessly raise your blade against the almighty Shogun.
You flatter me. Truth be told...
You are much too humble. Don't worry, I completely understand your concerns. I will try... Oh, actually, there was one strange incident over the last few days. Let me tell you about it just in case.
Sure. During times like this, the more information we have, the better.
All right then. Recently, 2 people went missing from the city. One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato. The other, Amenoma Yuya, is a samurai from the Amenoma clan.
Amenoma! Now there's a familiar name.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma Smith. 2 grown men going missing at the same time. Their case... I recalled this because Amenoma Yuya is also an accomplished martial artist who is skilled with the blade. Perhaps he is the one...
Understood. Though it seems highly unlikely to me. I neither know this man, nor do I have any idea.
Sure! Can't...
Thank you, Ryuji. We'll start by making some inquiries at the Amenoma Smithy.
Sounds good. All the best with your investigation.
Ah, if it isn't Kaedehara Kazuha.
Huh? You...
Yes, the Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been deep links between the 2 clans. After I returned to Inazuma, I visited Mr. Amenoma to pay my respects. Yes, you may recall the story of the Raiden Gokaden from the Iridori Festival.
Though all bladesmiths trace their craft back to the same source, over time, each of us has arrived at a different blade. As an example, the Amenoma art strives to emulate the abiding patience and determination of what. There is nothing mystical to our work. There is only practice, day in and day out, until both body and mind have memorized the craft. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called...
That's right. Isshin art strives for complete harmony between blade and mind, from the moment for only a blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings, and eventually become an extension of its wielder's will.
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but an Isshin blade chooses its owner. You are, without a doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Isshin blade. It gladdens my heart to see that although the Kaedehara clan has fallen off...
You overestimate me. My actions are guided by my own personal sentiments, not by any... But let's get back on topic. The purpose of our visit today is to... We hope to assist with the investigation. It may turn out that this case is connected to another we are pursuing.
Ah, yes. My nephew. I reported the case. He didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. But I've done what I can so far. Worrying is futile.
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance, too. Know anything about that?
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very I believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato. After that, the next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse. Yes. Strange, isn't it? I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left.
Do you have any thoughts?
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for him to get... He's never been particularly interested in blade forging, but has always had a fondness for blade testing. and can sense even the most minute difference. He is extraordinarily talented in martial arts, particularly when it comes to the art of the...
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. Based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the suspect's profile.
What? No. Absolutely impossible. He is humble and kind. Even his training is done with the goal of calming his mind. Yes. If there's one thing I can say for certain, it's that Yuya would never draw his blade. But, with that said, it's equally out of character. I also cannot know what course of action he might be capable of if coerced, or otherwise compelled by circumstances unbeknownst to... Anyway, should you find him, please let me know as soon...
Don't worry. You have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't think Yuya was the one who attacked us as well.
Yes. It sounds as if something happened when the two... Let's pay a visit.
Okay.
I'm very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay. My husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying.
No, you misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation.
Ah, I see. I thought that... I'm sorry you have to see me in this dreadful state. Has some new...
I'm afraid we don't have any new information at the moment. With this in mind, can we perhaps...
For example, Paimon's struggling...
That's a long story. He'd always get so animated when he was showing them to me. I knew nothing about the items myself, but everything was fine when we first got married. But as time went by, he lost his sense of restraint. He started buying more and more things. Our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. It was awful. There were days when he'd spend hours down at the warehouse, admiring. He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. Just sat there staring. I'm happy he has a hobby, and I'm willing to support him. But making ends meet has to come first. I've tried to... On the last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if he refused to sell his collectible...
Whoa!
And that led to an...
Actually, it didn't. Generally... He's a quiet man who likes to go with the flow. You must understand, I never would have dreamed of threatening him with divorce if the debts hadn't pushed our family to the... After I said those words, he froze and was silent for a long time. His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our family? Had I not indulged his bad habits... we wouldn't have found ourselves in such a predicament. And I also don't know if he had actually... The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had caught fire, and both he and...
I see. Amin Yuya came to purchase a weapon from Mr. Nagato. During the sale of...
At first, I assumed they must have got... But my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so it's hard to imagine him getting into a...
Maybe he was feeling the pressure...
I don't know. He just disappeared after the warehouse burned. Perhaps he's too afraid to come home, now that all his collectibles have been lost in the fire, and he's gotten... Even though I'm still a little mad at him... We're a family. As long as he's willing to turn over a new leaf, I know we can work things.
Please don't get upset. There could be more to this. If collecting things is a habit that Mr. Nagato had his whole life, It is but the information we gathered from the other side suggests Amenoma Yuya is also a mild-mannered man who would... This...
A little confusing. More like...
Let's try a change of scenery and see if... Rest assured, we'll notify you if we find...
Thank you so much.
Based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the sales meeting between the two men was somehow... The fire at the warehouse likely played a part in how the situation unfolded. Though its exact role isn't... Do you have any thought?
Well, Paimon was thinking that maybe someone Nope, never mind. Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while. Over to you.
Right. I very much agree with you. Working off what we know so far, there are too many things. The chances are that there are still some clues left. One fact that I keep coming back to is that Amenoma Yuya is polite and well-mannered, while Mr. Nagato is introverted. Mr. Nagato, being heavily in debt, is also the only one of them with the potential motive. The more I ponder it, the more puzzling it becomes. Just what could have happened there? Right. Although the time frame seems to broadly match, no other details that we've learned. Amenoma Yuya lacks a key distinguishing feature of the attacker, namely that he is principally a practitioner of the blade testing techniques of Amenoma art, not those of the combat-oriented Ishin art.
Darn! We thought we could get two birds with one stone here, but at this rate, it's starting...
Let's keep going. Since we've come this far, if we can solve the case, both Mr. Amenoma and Mrs. Nagato will be able to get some closure.
Okay, but...
Let's head out of the city and check out the warehouse. There's still a chance... Wait. I hear something ominous.
Oh! This must be another one of those sounds that, as sketchy as that whole thing seems, you did put it to good use when we were chasing down that vision thief at Beto's turn.
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the sound. It's right.
But there's nothing here.
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction. It felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma. The remnants of the Tatari, indeed. But this unexpected spring of inauspicious energy, we should remain vigilant and approach slowly.
So it's an
The force is definite. The source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left this place. But the residue it left judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the Tatarigami source...
Mrs. Nagato said her husband used to hang around the warehouse by himself a lot.
It could well be that he was already under the influence of Tatarigami energy at that time. From what I've been told, Tatarigami does not turn all upon whom it preys, but most will develop a stubborn streak upon being exposed to the Tatarigami's unfulfilled will. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with. The influence of Tatarigami could explain why he became an obsessive hoarder, amassing more and more...
So what should we do now? Go down...
Step back. I'll open the door and take a look inside. If we don't open this door, we can move no closer. You needn't worry. Both of us have faced far greater danger.
What's down there?
Everything's buried in debris. It looks like the fire caused a cave-in, reducing the entire warehouse to rubble.
That was too scary! Paimon was so...
All we can do now is keep searching in the direction that the Tatarigami energy's source led. Two ordinary humans, entangled with the Tatarigami. Yes, let's go. If nothing else, it's vital that we find out where... Quiet your mind and focus on what you sense around you. Perhaps you too will perceive its ominous. From this point, the trail appears to split in. The main source of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small portion remained here, and seems to be
Whoa! Look at all those hilly churls! They're acting really strangely.
Something seems to be drawing their attention. Let's take a closer look. By the looks of it, a letter, written on a piece of torn clothing. The ink, well... According to this letter, a conflict arose because Amenoma Yuya wanted to... Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato in the fight. Mr. Nagato kept chase as long...
So, where is he?
He was not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura... Whatever traces there may have been of his fate beyond after this point, they've since been disturbed by the hilly churls. There's nothing more for us to find here. Yes, right now we need to... If Amenoma Yuya is attacking other people indiscriminately, then the longer we take to find him, the more people risk...
Right! So let's get moving!
I wouldn't be surprised if he, too, fell prey to the influence. For a practitioner of the martial arts, the easiest desire to inflame would be their pursuit of further power and skill. All the clues that at first seemed disparate and disconnected. I have a hypothesis that, if it's correct, not only explains the series of...
Wait, you figured it out? So these two...
I believe so. But it's something of an outlandish idea. I will on with the search. We must stay vigilant. At any point now, we may find ourselves in danger. He seems to...
Why here? Is there anything...
I'm not sure. But on closer examination, I sense that the aura may... Show yourself!
Kaede Kazuha. It's you, at last.
Aha! So it is this... What's your problem, huh? What could you possibly have...
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. If it is Ame-no-me Yuya that stands before us. But what if instead of facing Ame-no-me Yuya, we are in fact facing the blade in his hand?
Now that you mention it, it is... Whoa! Sure!
Tatarigami energy often lodges itself within physical objects, then works to subtly... The blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years, affecting his state of mind. And more recently, or rather, as a means to occupy Ame-no-me Yuya.
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced that many years ago, I was forged by a famed bladesmith of the Ishin tradition. I was his pride and joy as a descendant of the Kaedehara clan. You should be able to guess our great...
I presume it has something to do with the Raiden Gokaden.
Indeed. At that point in time, he failed to live up to the Raiden Shogun's expectations. And he was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. And sure enough, in the end, he achieved what he had set out to do. All of his life's work, his wisdom, he not only bestowed upon me the greatest of strength, but also endowed me with... In her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world, but also...
So... swords?
The people of the time in which I was born never believed I had that kind of power. They saw me as a mere blade, a sharp and well-crafted one. But in all other respect, after the death of my creator, I decided to leave Snezhnaya and began my long quest to return to the distant land of Inazuma. I seek but one thing: to face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power.
So Ame-no-me Yuya, tell me, what happens to those you've possessed?
My hosts? Who cares what happens to them? When they got tired, or injured, or unusable, I hopped to the next one in line. All I needed them for was to take me back to Inazuma.
You're...
After I returned to Inazuma, I decided to bide my time in Nagato's warehouse until Ame-no-me Yuya handed himself over to me on a silver platter. At long last, I'm approaching my journey's destination. By Ame-no-me Yuya's body, I have found you. And by your Kaedehara Kazuha, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. There can be no other to serve as my host for what is to come. Now,
This may turn a little...
we shall rewrite history!
Rain Cutter! Rain outlines your fate. Body and mind.
Go. Torn to oblivion!
stand in my way.
Your bluff's fooling no one. You
Lost. I can never lose. It is this body. Even if you defeat me here, the one who falls will not. He is but a puppet that can be replaced. I can take a new vessel at will. The end result is the same. I will end this wretch's life before you can lift a finger. And even if I were to lose my physical form, by any means necessary, and
Your fighting style. It is indeed the forms of Ishin art. But from your movements, I sense only hatred and arrogance, as well as...
really? You can tell all this.
As I've mentioned before, the forms of Ishin art convey the user's thoughts and feelings. Since the blade is currently possessing Aminome Yuya's body, its movements express... If you ask me, the mania is probably due to your desperate, single-minded ambition.
Are you trying to claim that I am helpless without you? On his deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin Art's secrets. In that regard, why would I...
Because all of that is in the past. I've been wondering why you've not caused more trouble in all the years that you've been in Inazuma. If you are indeed a cursed blade that can possess it, now that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. After all the time that's passed, you have grown weak. To the point that you are now...
Oh, that's right. Paimon remembers now. Mr. Nagato had a habit of never touching his collectibles.
Only when Mr. Nagato witnessed his wife's distress and decided to sell his collectibles did you finally have an opportunity to reach out to Aminome Yuya and make your escape. Well, that brings me to my second point. There's a despair. You were determined to fulfill your maker's ambition, whatever the cost. But this ambition is too grand and too heavy for you to bear. I think you realized your limitations long ago. The more you clenched your teeth and pressed forward, the greater your fear of losing everything you had achieved. But the way I see it, what began as an ambition has long since...
What would you know about any of this? I'm just one step away.
You returned to Inazuma to prove the unparalleled brilliance of Ishin art. But to make this arduous journey, you committed countless atrocities. And even if you were to sever that divine light, is this truly the outcome that your maker would have desired? Sure, you inherited the secrets of Ishin art. But even as you made your journey to honor this legacy, you treated the ones who wielded you as mere tools to do your bidding. How could you possibly unleash the full potential of Ishin art when you act in perfect discordance with the principle of harmony?
Silence, you blood. I must achieve my goal. This was his life. I will concede that you are most perceptive. You see my predicament clearly. But...
And you should face reality.
Easy for you to say. Facing reality offers me nothing. I have no need of anything that would stand in my way. Not hesitation, not self-reflection. It is pointless to argue further, descendant of the Kaedahara clan.
How stubbornly you stick to your... I do not believe for a second that you can challenge the almighty Shogun in your current state. So let us make a bet.
What? Surely you're not planning to...
Very well. Then find yourself some enemies with whom you wish to cross blades. A taste of my power will more... Once we have dealt with them, we shall proceed to Tenshu...
And as for your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release Aminome Yuya.
Don't do this, Kazuha!
This is the only way to save Aminome Yuya. If we don't do this, he'll forever be the blade. The cursed blade's strength is currently very weak, and I sense he's hesitating. This suggests his heart. The power of the Tatarigami lies in intensifying existing obsessions. This is the reason Mr. Nagato and Aminome Yuya fell prey to it. Since I don't have any similar kinds of obsessions, I should be able to put up some resistance for a while.
What?
Even if things take a turn for the worse, we have a chance here to save an innocent victim. I am willing to accept...
Your disdain for me betrays your woeful ignorance. I agreed to this bet because there are things now.
Takasua?
I felt a little dizzy at first, but it's all right. So far, this was as I expected. I will.
What should we do next?
We find some enemies. Although this blade has endured much turmoil, it probably hasn't experienced many real fights. If a blade built for Ishin art cannot enter a state of harmony between blade and bearer, it cannot unleash its true power. If he wants to avoid reality, then we need to fight until he has no choice but to face it. He shouldn't last long in an intense...
Wait a minute! Paimon remembers hearing about something from the adventurers. Since the Takasukasa clan abandoned that secret base, it's been held by Ronin ever since.
All right. Please.
What about Amanoma Yuya?
The blade says he'll let Amanoma Yuya trail us silently. Although he hasn't regained...
Are we sure this is a good idea? It's a pretty trick. Okay, fine.
Leave everything on this journey to me. Wind strike!
To the ferry. Let's get down to business.
Into the wind! Fallen leaves, adorn my night! One with nature!
How are you feeling?
I'm all right. The blade is performing largely as I expected. Having gone so long without proper use and maintenance, it's become very difficult. Though he's making every effort to persevere, I do not think he can last much longer.
Something else?
How strange. Rather than trying to control me, let's keep going. Time to go. Into the wind. The wind knows me. Clouds high. The birds come.
My lucky day.
One with nature. The wind knows me.
Whoa! Something's up with the blade!
I can sense that his strength is slowly fading away. He cannot hold out much longer. If he keeps...
But what would that do to Amanome?
I will be careful with it. He also says he does not have... He's still trying to... Time to go. as one with wind and cloud.
Are you okay? It looks like you were really stripped.
Yes. And it looks like
The shine's grown a bit dimmer again.
perhaps this time we'll finally have a chance to see his true form.
True form? What are you talking of? Is this the same blade as before? It looks like a piece of junk.
If you choose to continue in the state you're in, you wouldn't even be able to beat Samurai and Kairagi, much less the almighty Shogun. Maybe you did truly wield power to rival the Shogun's light when first forged. But the long journey from Snezhnaya back to Inazuki, it barely needs stating anymore. Your ambition is a flight of fancy. I finally figured out why it was that you agreed to my bet. You wanted to reach a state of harmony with me. For perhaps then you would still be able to wield, but regrettably we are nothing alike. I will never understand your obstinacy and cruelty. The only one who truly understood you had already passed.
Huh? What's that?
Here they are! Take them down!
Where do they keep coming from? Yup. We can help.
Don't worry. It's just more of the same.
It's my lucky day!
The wind! The clouds high, the birds tall!
You fought way better.
You are a true Kaedehara in flesh and in spirit. Though we fought briefly together, you have seen me for who I really am. No one knew anything of my story throughout my travels, nor did I tell it to anyone. You are the first person to know the truth. I thought that if I could achieve Ishin harmony with you, perhaps there would still be a ray of hope for me.
But in this too you have failed.
Indeed. No matter how hard I tried, I could not attain that perfect harmony that your personal blade does with you. Too much time has passed. My physical state is poor, and without proper maintenance, I can only disguise my true appearance behind an outer sheen. Yours is the blade that took on the Muso no Hitotachi. And what a magnificent blade it is.
Actually, this is just a generic blade that I picked up during my Forging and maintenance are both important for a blade, but they are not everything. This blade has traveled the land with me for many years, and we have formed a close bond during that time. Plus skill, blade, determination, and desire. All these must be aligned in the practice of Ishin art. There is something else I must tell you. Though your maker may not have been aware, your ability to possess your own consciousness derived from the power of the Tatarigami. Tatarigami is a malevolence from the ancient past. It is the source of your mania and savagery. Though you tried to cooperate with me while I was wielding you, the part of you driven by Tatarigami was constantly trying to seize control of my body.
I sensed it, but I couldn't change it. It is an integral part of my consciousness.
I resisted its temptations because I wanted to save Amenoma Yuya. But I do not know whether you yourself have any intention of trying to fight it. I feel a great sense of regret for you. Since you embarked on a journey bound for a destination you were destined never to reach. The moment you embarked on this journey, you lost the only person who could have ever unleashed your true potential. And yet there was no way for you. You have known this for a long time.
He gave me everything. How could I possibly deny? I said to him, "Do not worry. From here on, I shall
Aww.
I believe our bet is now settled.
Where are you going, Kazuha?
He now has neither the ability nor the motivation to cause further harm. When I touched the hilt for the first time, it's as if I was transported to a strange dimension. A bladesmith lay quietly on the bed, his frail face barely visible under the moonlight. His breaths were weak. A newly forged blade lay by his side, listening attentively to his final word.
Wow. That was the...
Indeed. While in exile in Snezhnaya, the bladesmith eventually learned the truth behind everything that had happened. The Ishin art had been dealt a devastating blow. He spent the rest of his life in the forge, not to vent his frustration and hatred, but to atone for his action. He felt intense regret at being tricked by the Fatui, but he could never again return to his homeland. His sole wish was to one day, so he instructed this sentient blade to find a way back to Inazuma, no matter how long or how hard the journey. All he wanted to show was that they once shone brilliantly as blade and smith, that they were still worthy of being trusted.
So, but after that, the blacksmith's intentions were worked by the Tatarigami, slowly...
Right. I believe the bladesmith might never have known that the power he worked with was that of the Tatarigami. The hatred within that power is what sent the blade down its ill. This blade has committed unforgivable atrocities, but only because it lost its original master.
Shake?
Yes. Time would not wait or stop because of his determination. While the world moved on, his ambition remained stubbornly stuck at that fleeting moment at the dawn. He seems to have calmed down, though.
When I look back at the past, I can remember I once told him that I would pay any price to fulfill his wishes. Such was the debt I owed to him for giving me the gift of consciousness. But darkness and slaughter numb the mind. Over time, I lost. Not only did I fail to fulfill his ambition.
You are finally seeing reality clearly.
Since we agreed to the terms of the bet, I will honor the agreement, but I still cannot bring myself to forsake his ambition. It is the So, may I ask you to help me fulfill—
Hey! Now you're adding yours into the mix, too?
It has to be done in this order. At least hear what I have to say. And if you don't agree, I will still release Ame no Mayuya as my physical form, as well as the knowledge I possess.
His attitude hurt. What do you think, Kazuha?
Let's hear it.
Thank you all. When I was first forged, my maker was already terminally ill. Alas, nor have I ever had the chance to prove my fights were devoid of any noble meaning. They were merely the next step in my never-ending journey. You are a fine warrior. I would like to request your hand.
Oh? And who would—
I will release Ame no Mayuya and restore his consciousness. Perhaps after that, you can convince— He must have plenty of reasons to both hate me and desire a good—
Understood. Then let's start by waking him up and seeing if he has the stamp.
I see. I utterly despise him and his actions. But since he stayed true to your agreement by releasing me, he must still have some remaining semblance. If a duel can help to set this state of affairs in order, I do not wish to be a mere victim in this story.
There's no need to worry. We'll vouch for your innocence to—
Thanks for your help. Who knows how this would have ended without your intervention?
All right, then let's move on. More Ronin could appear at any moment. We can't stay here. In any case, for a final duel, I think we should aim for a greater sense of—
This reminds Paimon a bit of the Crux Clash. Yep, we still can't let our guard down, even now. Still, even if he's way past the point of redemption, are you ready?
Ready? Okay. Successor of Ishin art.
Successor of Amenoma art.
Honored to cross blades.
It is my honor.
Fine. Wind Strider. Wind Strider. Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
Thank you for the... Although he appears battered and broken. In your hands, it seems his sense of savage cruelty has completely faded away.
You also fought well. I'm sure he relished the experience. There are a few things that I shall leave him to...
I must apologize to you for all that...
You need not seek my forgiveness. Nor do I have the right to forgive you on your victim. It is too late for all...
I do not wish for forgiveness. I only hope that you will see my transgressions as mine alone, and not... I strayed far from the straight and narrow path, but the Ishin art still has a worthy successor. I beseech you, please understand that.
Yes. I too trust Mr. Kaede.
Thank you, successor of Amenoma art.
This blade has also told me that he has another wish. He would like to visit the Maybe we can go back there together.
What does he want to go there?
I'm not sure, but I think that all this is about to come to an end.
Commit it to memory. Make yourselves a home.
Let me weave you a verse. Shine down!
This way for you. Yeah.
It's Yuya!
I am sorry to have troubled you. It's all thanks to them that I was able to return safely.
A prized Ishin blade. Turned weapon that controls the human mind. Considering their forging philosophy, this was indeed within the realm of... But I have some good news as well. Ryuji, from the Bonton Sango Detective Agency, tells me that they've found the missing
Really?
Yes. Badly wounded. And now that Yuya is back, it seems like the...
I think I know what you want to do.
What's wrong, Kazuha? Is the blade whispering in your ear again?
Yes. He said he wants to take control of me.
What? No way! Hasn't it...
He tells me that he's thought of another way to fulfill his maker's wish. And he assures me that he won't... I have decided to let him do it.
But... He...
Thank you. I will Okay. I am ready. Let us begin.
My power is almost spent. Without him, my eventual demise is inevitable. But if I abandon the future to give everything I have in this moment, my physical form can be forged anew.
Everything? You mean...
Yes. The cost is my entire consciousness. You were right. There's nothing that I can accomplish now. But there's still a chance for Ishin art. Once remade, I will be a valuable resource for your studies. Ishin lives on, and its finest hour is yet to come. Even if I am not the one to prove its might to the Shogun, as long as it is an Ishin blade, crafted by Kaedehara hands, it will still fulfill his final wish. Thank you, son of the Kaedehara clan. Over the years, my real name has been forgotten by all. I'm ashamed to utter it, yet it remains strong in my mind. Kagotsurube Ishin. This name is now yours to keep.
Rest in peace.
So, that's why he said it had to be done in that order. His consciousness will disappear forever after fulfilling...
Kagotsurube Ishin. It seems like deep down he disapproved of his own actions. Only in the final moments, before his consciousness faded.
Seems like he really wanted...
The same fervent ambition that gave him the motivation to keep going forward also fueled the stubborn determination that blinded him to the path ahead. Speaking for myself, I'd rather see him recognize and atone for his mistakes than see him punt. I understand. Perhaps this is a flaw in my personality. I've always... Hearing his wish to rival the divine light touched something inside of me. Just as the sight of those who fought to repeal your quest to face the gods and trace your sibling inspires me in the same... After everything I've seen, perhaps these pursuits...
Oh, Kazu...
I will continue to support you from this point on. Know that you will have my assistance.
Wait! Shouldn't we also go update Kujo-ka...
Oh, you're right. And it's also time to give him a response to the...
My apologies. Kamore Tea House only accepts guests.
You've returned. I hear that the issue has been resolved. Though this was a treacherous investigation indeed, we're most fortunate that the Tenryou Commission has already attended to the danger at the warehouse. The investigation into Amanome Yuya should conclude soon.
Wow, you sure kept your ear...
Then we needn't recount all the details again. Now, as to your earlier offer, I wish to give you my answer. Please...
What's this?
Kagotsurube Ishin. A weapon crafted using a long-lost blade forging art of the Kaida. By means of a series of fortuitous events, I was able to recover and restore him. I also promised him that I will continue to study And so, it looks like I will likely continue with my journey across the nations, learning more about this. The Kaidahara clan has always been a family of bladesmiths, so it is only proper for me to— Were I to accept your goodwill, I may find myself embroiled in conflicts between the shogunate and Sangonomiya. That would not suit me.
You misunderstand. That was most certainly not our intent.
I am aware, but I still desire to—
Very well, I can understand. Then let's pretend this offer. However, if you should ever change your mind or find yourself in need of the shogunate's assistance, please—
Great. Thank you for—
Where will you travel to next?
I'll probably take to the seas with Captain. As for my next destination, let's see where the wind takes me.
You must have a whole bunch of questions after our last conversation with Nahida. Paimon was ready to ask her a million more questions, but didn't want to seem too pushy. And as for your brother... Whew, so many questions. Let's go find Nahida and see what else we can find out.